Deryck teaches R Programming, Lesson 2. Last time we were using the R Programming environment. We were executing commands just through the command line. You're probably asking, well, how do I write a real program? A program that I can save and reuse. So let's do that. Let's create some real programs that solve some real problems. What sort of real problems can we do that we can apply to SAS? Let's take a couple of examples. Let's start with a contamination. Supposing you were working for a drug company or a food company. You were given some data from somebody on the floor, some sort of a scientist or something. You need to analyze it. Maybe you want to just find some basic information like the mean and the standard deviation. So to get started, you can see what I've done here is I've created a new folder on my desktop, R Programming, where I'm going to save all of the programs I've written for programming in R. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the program, this time in a basic text editor. You can try and create a program in MS Node or MS Word, but the problem with those word processing programs is they tend to put in hidden characters or unknown characters into your program, and then they won't execute because of a syntax error. So you want to be careful of that. The best way is to use a text editor that's been specially designed for programming, and the one that I use is Notepad++. Let's return to our problem about contamination. So in order to start, let's create a title. Anything in programming in R that starts with a hashtag, it's a comment. That means that the programming environment is going to just ignore it and move on to the next line until it finds the next command that's executable. So we can use hashtags to put comments and label our program. I'm going to call this one contamination R program. Purpose of this program, I'm going to put this program, is to analyze the following. Contamination data. I have this data already. I have 10 data points that I'm going to analyze. Put it right here in the comment for now. The first thing I want to do is I want to take these 10 data points and assign them to a variable. So I'm going to call the variable ppmcont. Use the assignment operator, which looks like an error, less than and a dash. And I want to use a container to put all the variables in, all the values into the one variable. So C bracket, and then I'm going to copy all of my data from the comment, paste it in between the brackets, and there I've assigned, this command will assign all 10 data points into the variable called ppmcont. I want to know the mean and I want to know the standard deviation. I want to output all those things. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put all those three functions into one command line. And so the last thing I want to do is output the data. It's actually going to be the first thing that I type. I could use print. Print, it's better if you are looking to format the output. And I don't care about formatting the output and making it look pretty. I just want the values. So I prefer to use cat, the concatenate statement. In the concatenate statement, I can also merge the text into one string. So what I'm going to do first is actually put in the cat statement and then put the labels for what I want to be printed. So I want the mean, So I'm going to create a label called mean. And then I want standard deviation. So I'm just putting in some of the pretty labels first before I actually put in the commands that do the real work. Standard deviation equals. So if I run this, it's just going to print the two labels, and it's not going to do any sort of work. So I actually have to put the commands that actually do the work. So I'm going to put in some extra commas here. And in between the mean and the standard deviation labels, I'm going to put the real mean command. Mean bracket. So in here, in these brackets in the mean function, is where I put the variable ppm cont that contains my 10 data points. The R command for standard deviation is sd bracket, and in between these brackets, again, I'm going to put the variable ppm cont. Enter. File, save as, put it in my R programming folder. I'm going to call it contamination. I'm just checking my spelling here. And then I want to finish all the programs that I make, they end in .r. Save. If I close this now and go to my R programming folder, you can see contamination R is now in the folder. Let's open the programming environment. Here we go. I've just opened it. I'm just going to open it down here so that you can see it. Ooh, I don't want it maximized. I want some space at the top. There we go. File. Source R code is how I import the program from my R programming folder. I've set up, when I downloaded my R environment, I set it up so it automatically links to my R programming folder. So I'm going to select contamination.r, open, and I have my results. So it's processed all the data and it's printed out all of my labels. The mean, the standard deviation, so 10.19 is the mean, and 25.58283 is my standard deviation. And that's today's lesson. Thank you.